As we're closing out 2025, I wanted to make a video that's less about charts and more about perspective. Because if you've been trading this year and you're frustrated, inconsistent, and still not profitable, this video is for you. This is not motivation, this is not hype, this is actual clarity in the markets. If you watch this from start to finish and actually apply it, it will change how you approach trading in 2026. In this video, I want to cover what I'm leaving behind in 2025, what I'm taking into 2026, and the exact mindset shifts that actually made my trading consistent. Because this year especially, the markets did not reward effort, they rewarded discipline. So this part is going to be for the trader who isn't profitable yet, and I want to take a minute here and pause and speak directly to anyone watching that is not profitable yet. If you're still red overall, if you're still inconsistent, and you still feel like you almost get trading, this part matters a lot. Most unprofitable traders aren't failing because they're stupid or unlucky. They're failing because they're trying to do too much at once. Too many setups, too many markets, too much size, too much emotion. They're chasing profitability instead of building stability. And here's the shift that changed everything for me. Your goal in 2026 is not going to be to make money. Your goal is going to be to stop losing money. This means trading smaller than what you want to, trading less than you think you should, and repeating the same process until it becomes boring. Boring is good, because boring is where consistency lives. Once you stop bleeding capital, you finally give yourself room to grow. As you guys can see right here, from November 3rd all the way to Friday, December 12th, I have only taken 4 trades. That is over a month with only 4 positions taken. All of these trades were called out live. All of these trades had breakdowns attached to them on the channel. And in 4 of those trades, I only took 1 loss that could have been very easily avoided with a break even. The biggest change for me was not trading more. It was actually trading less with a very repeatable setup. Now, you guys know that I only trade break and retest. So basically all I'm looking for is some sort of swing high being broken, having some sort of consolidation, and then retesting an area of interest, a break above, a retest, and continuing to the highs. So in this example right here, this would be said area of interest. And this is it, swing high broken, we break above, indicating that we are bullish. We have some sort of consolidation, respecting a low, breaking above, retesting the 50% of the area of interest, and going back to the upside. Now, obviously, this is paired in with macro, and I talk about this a lot on the channel. Macro gives you the context and it gives you the why the market is moving. So for me, a very repeatable setup being the break and retest paired with something very open-ended that gives me room to interpret and learn and understand what's going on in the economy and to actually understand why the market is moving like macro. This gives me the most clean trading setup. This minimizes my losses, and I can tell you why exactly I lost in every single one of my trades. It's not because there was a fair value gap that needed to be filled. It wasn't because the market was moving against me. There was actual, tangible reasons why the market failed me and my direction. And when you learn a strategy that is tailored to you, you actually begin to trade less and start understanding more. I'm one of those people that seeks insane amounts of knowledge, and I cannot go a day of trading without knowing exactly why I'm getting myself into a position. If you're just trading to trade, you are setting yourself up on a path of destruction. This is why most strategies don't fail. The trader actually does. Not because they can't trade, it's because they never slow down enough to let the consistency form. This is very uncomfortable, but it's true. Most strategies do work, not perfectly, not every time, but well enough. What usually is breaking them is the trader. They're taking trades outside the plan, they're sizing up emotionally, forcing setups that are not there, and abandoning rules after a single loss. In 2026, I'm not chasing any new strategies. I'm executing the same one that we've been doing for so long properly. I understand as a new trader if you are switching strategies, and I do hope that you find one that suits you the best. But once you find one that you like, you enjoy trading, and that you can be consistent with, this is where you stick to that and adapt it to build your own alpha. Execute the same thing until it becomes boring and repeatable. Most traders chase that dopamine rush, but I'm telling you, most pro traders have the most boring time on the charts because we are chasing the exact same setups every single time. And that consistency comes from emotional control. And the biggest edge I've ever developed in trading isn't intelligence or prediction, it is emotional control. You have to be okay with slow weeks, taking losses, small wins, missed trades like we just had that I explained in my last video. Once you stop tying your self-worth into each trade, your results actually stabilize. So in 2026, emotional regulation isn't optional, it is the baseline of your entire trading journey. I broke this down in the last video where basically I loved the area of interest that we had formed at these highs right here. And all I wanted was a break and retest of the 50%. And as you can see, if I zoom in right here, we had 1 touch, 2 touch before breaking through with great volume. The macro bias was there. We pushed even higher and I wanted a break and the retest right here before continuing to the highs. As you can see, we just missed that by a few points and continued to rip to the upside. This is probably thousands and thousands of dollars that I missed out on by a couple ticks. You will not catch me even regretting that for a moment. I'm not angry about missing this trade. I just understand that it's part of the game. It happens. There will always be another opportunity. The markets are not going anywhere. They will always be around for as long as we're living. Fingers crossed. But you have to be okay with having these kind of situations. I used to want to flip a table when this happened, and now I couldn't even be bothered. Maybe I'll run an extra lap at the gym just because I'm a little bit frustrated. This doesn't bother me overall. And again, with it being late December and price action being horrible, I'm barely even looking at a chart. The last thing you want as a trader is to take a fat loss on your account, then all of a sudden you're ready to flip a table at your Christmas dinner. A lot of this does come back to your overall strategy though, and a lot of traders fail because their strategy doesn't match who they are. Some people can handle fast execution, frequent losses, and the high adrenaline that comes with trading, and others can't, and that's totally fine. You need a strategy where drawdowns don't shake you, position size actually lets you sleep at night, and your execution is very calm and planned. That's how longevity is built. I very much respect the scalpers out there, the order flow gurus that are insane at scalping. That could never be for me. That is too fast paced. There isn't enough context for me to actually understand what's going on. So being patient with swing trading is one of those things where it's very tailored to my risk appetite. I have a fixed risk per trade. I know exactly where I'm targeting at all times. I have a macro bias behind me that I trust to carry the trade to its destination. And a great example of this would actually be a couple of the trades that I've already taken. I did have this trade right here that would be the best example of this, because first of all, I wanted a break and retest of this high right here. All I wanted was a good break and retest of this area. Let's drag this down a little bit. We had 1, 2, 3 touch points before breaking this area of interest and tapping right at the 50% mark. But I actually did not take this trade at this mark. And as you can see, this went on to be a winning position that I probably could have squeezed at least 1 to 2 RR out of more if I took it from the original point. But this is where my risk appetite comes in. I didn't like the macro bias surrounding this trade, so I never ended up taking it. Even though the market was showing me my dream setup, we had a high to the left that was broken. We had a respected swing low. We broke that right here. We respected the swing low right here, making a higher low, meaning we're going bullish, broke the area of interest with good force, came back, retested the 50% of the area of interest, and flew to the highs. That is a dream setup for me from a market structure perspective, but the macro did not agree with me at that moment, so I elected to wait. I was very patient, went to a lower time frame, waited for the exact same setup to come again. As you can see, we had a couple touches of that area of interest up here. We failed to break it and stay above it. We actually did break it. We did not stay above it. We just kind of wicked it. Again, I did not take the trade. I waited for a third break and retest of this area. And this is the beauty of my strategy. The alpha I've generated allows me to be precise with my entries and also be very, very patient with taking an entry. If I don't like one thing about the strategy, I will happily sit back and wait for everything to align before taking the position. Again, this is one of those trades where a beginner would have been absolutely soiling their pants because this trade flew immediately into profit, almost came back and took us out in break even because I'm very much break even at this point. We almost came right back to our entry, pushed off again, came back pretty close again, failed to break this high, came back again. And this is where it gets dicey because you're literally playing in this range forever. But as a pro trader, you have to remember to trust your strategy, trust your macro bias. And right after all of this uncertainty, all this ranging, look at those few pumps that we had over the course of a couple days that took me straight to my take profit level. Again, this is how longevity is built. I executed this very calm. My position size was exactly what I wanted, and the drawdown on this did not shake me at all, even with such little bits of drawdown. And again, this goes back to generating your own alpha. You can learn from others, absolutely, but you cannot borrow their conviction. Your edge comes from how you interpret the markets, how you manage your risk, and how you handle your drawdowns. That's your alpha. In 2026, I will continue to refine my system and not copy someone else's. For me, the balance for me that actually works of how I trade right now is swing trading when the conditions are correct, options for consistency, no more than a few hours per week. I'm putting up the same numbers and probably even better than most day traders on the internet, and I trade at a fraction of the time that they do. They are glued to the charts every single day. I may be popping in when an alert gets hit to check what's going on. I set another alert. I know exactly what to do. And for the rest of the time, I'm just reading about what's going on in the markets, where we're going, where we're headed. It's a very relaxed way of trading. I'm putting up numbers comparable to the top 1% of traders with less stress, less screen time, and less greed. That is something you cannot pay for with a course. That's something that you learn with longevity in the markets. And this brings me to probably my biggest thing to leave behind in 2025, and that is greed. As a new trader, greed is a wolf in sheep's clothing. You have no idea that you're even greedy. You're just so hungry to trade at all points. You want to take every single setup and bend your rules because of it. That is just greed in disguise, and that is something I need you guys to take very, very seriously. Greed will show up as just one more trade. Let me size up. This trade feels different. In 2026, focus on maximizing returns and protecting consistency. The more consistent you are and the more you stick to your system, the more profitable you will be. That is a mathematical fact. It's almost as if you have to trade like a robot. So heading into 2026, my priorities are very, very simple. Continue taking fewer trades at higher quality, strict execution, emotional neutrality, capital preservation, and letting time and compounding do the work. There's nothing flashy, there's nothing forced, it's just disciplined repetition. So if you're struggling with trading in 2025, just remember trading does not reward your intensity, it rewards your restraint. If you leave 2025 having learned how to trade less, stress less, and trust your process, you're already ahead of most traders going into 2026. The markets will still be there. Your job is to make sure that you are too. If you guys found value in this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment any questions that you have, and we'll see you guys in the next one.